I still remember the day I found out I was a millionaire. It still sounds unreal, even now, because for most of my life, I was just ordinary. Average job, average apartment, average dreams. Nothing about me said future millionaire. But somehow, I became one. And the craziest part, I didn't even know it was happening. When I got my first job back in 1989, I was 23, fresh out of college, broke, and terrified of adulting. All I wanted was to pay rent, buy groceries, and maybe afford a pizza once in a while. I remember that first paycheck like it was gold. After taxes, I had about $1,200. To me, that was a fortune. I celebrated by buying a secondhand TV and a leather jacket I definitely didn't need. Yeah, I thought I was winning at life. Saving money, investing, retirement, those were words for people with money, not me. My parents never talked about saving. School didn't teach it. Money for me was just something you earned and spent over and over again. One day, during employee orientation, HR handed me this thick packet labeled 401k retirement plan. I had no clue what it meant. Stocks, mutual funds, pre-tax contributions. It was another language. I was ready to toss it until I noticed one line in bold. Company will match up to 3% of your contributions. Wait, free money? I asked. The HR lady smiled. Yep, you put in $1, we put in $1. So I shrugged, checked the box for 3%, and forgot about it completely. Then life began to roll. I moved apartments, fell in love, got married, paid bills, lost a job, helped my mom when she got sick. Money was always tight, not desperate, but never enough. Every time I saw my payslip, I'd notice a small deduction, that 401k thing. I'd think, oh, yeah, that retirement stuff. Then I'd move on. What I didn't realize was that something magical was happening behind the scenes. That little 3%, the one I ignored, was quietly working for me. Every paycheck, a small piece was invested. The company matched it, and that money started earning more money. It snowballed, slowly, silently, for decades. Through recessions, through market crashes, through the pandemic. I never noticed. I never even logged in. But my future self was quietly growing richer while I was too busy worrying about bills. Then, 30 years later, I got an email from HR. Schedule your retirement review. I didn't think much of it. I was 65, tired, ready to rest. I figured maybe I had a few $1,000s saved up, enough for groceries and cable TV. So I sat in that HR office. The manager smiled, turned the monitor toward me, and said, "Congratulations, here's your total. $1,081,342.26. I froze. I stared at the screen, then at her. Wait, is that mine? I asked. She laughed gently. Yes, you've been contributing since 1989. With company matches, reinvested growth, and market gains, that's all yours. I felt my throat tighten. I wasn't supposed to be a millionaire. I was just me. The truth is, I never tried to get rich. I never traded stocks or followed gurus. All I did was make one small decision, to check a box and forget about it. But that tiny act set a chain reaction, because wealth doesn't come from being smart. It comes from being patient. Money grows in silence, in consistency, in the boring things we forget. If I could talk to my younger self, I'd say this: don't wait until you have more money to start saving. Start now, even if it's just $20. Time will do the heavy lifting, because one day you'll wake up, log in, and realized that one small choice changed everything. You don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start to be rich. And that's the day I learned the most powerful investment isn't in the stock market, it's in time.
There was a time when my happiness lived in my driveway. It had 4 wheels, a turbo engine, and the shiniest black paint you've ever seen. I called her Valerie. Yeah, I named my car. Don't judge me. She was a 2018 Mustang GT, my dream car. And for a while, she was the dream. I'd grown up in a small town where every guy wanted 2 things, a decent job and a fast car. My dad worked double shifts at a factory, and every Friday we'd sit on the porch and watch cars drive by. He'd point and say, "One day, son, you'll get yourself something like that." So when I finally landed my first real job at 27, I did exactly that. I walked into a dealership, inhaled that new car smell, and told the salesman, "That one, I'll take that one." He smiled, of course, because I wasn't buying a car. I was buying an illusion. The loan papers were thick. 5 years, $674 a month. But I didn't care. I was making decent money, single, no kids. I told myself, you only live once. Then I drove off the lot, windows down, engine roaring, and I swear, for that moment, I felt unstoppable. Man, that car was everything. Weekends meant road trips, photo shoots, showing it off to friends. I'd wash it every Sunday morning, wax it until it looked like black glass. People noticed. Neighbors complimented it. Friends joked that I loved the car more than dating. And maybe, deep down, they were right. But there's a side of that story I didn't post on Instagram. Every month, half my paycheck went to that loan. Another 100 for insurance, another 100 for gas, oil changes, new tires, parking tickets. It never ended. I started delaying other things, skipped birthdays, avoided hanging out because I'm saving. Except I wasn't saving, I was surviving. And one morning while paying bills, I noticed something terrifying. My car was losing value. Every month, it was worth less, but the debt stayed the same. I realized something terrifying. I didn't own my dream car. The bank did. I was just renting my pride at 8.5% interest. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hearing that faint ticking of the clock and wondering, why was I working so hard to impress strangers? So, a week later, I did something that scared me. I listed Valerie for sale. Within 2 days, a buyer came. He was younger, excited, reminded me of myself at 27. He walked around the car like it was a piece of art. When he started the engine, I saw the same sparkle in his eyes that I once had. And in that moment, I almost changed my mind. Almost. But when he handed me the check, I shook his hand and let go of the keys. I stood there as he drove away, listening to the sound of the exhaust fade down the street. That was the day I sold my dream. At first, I felt empty. Mornings felt quiet, too quiet. No revving engine, no attention, just silence. But a few weeks later, something strange happened. I checked my bank account. For the first time in years, it wasn't red. I paid off the remaining loan, cleared my credit card, and still had cash left over. I started saving the $600 I used to pay every month. At first, it felt small, pointless. But then I remembered, wealth doesn't start big, it starts steady. After 6 months, I had an emergency fund. After a year, I opened an investment account. After 2, that money had grown more than my car ever did in value. And somewhere along the way, I realized that freedom doesn't sound like a V8 engine. It sounds like peace of mind. Now when I see a Mustang roar past me on the freeway, I still smile because I remember that feeling. The thrill, the pride, the rush. But I don't miss it because what I have now is better. It's quiet, it's stable, and it doesn't come with a monthly payment. Sometimes you have to let go of what makes you look rich to build what actually makes you free. And if you're listening to this, wondering if you should hold on to something that's holding you back, maybe it's time. Not every dream is meant to be driven forever. Some dreams are meant to be outgrown.